This is white glue, which dries or sets clear. This is brown paint that dries, well, brown. If I mix these together and apply them to the surface, what colour will it dry and set? Let's find out. Hello YouTubes, as you can see, I'm all set to do some scenic work today over in my viewpoint area, again, hopefully for the last time. Today's mission is to finally finish off this track area before I can start on the town area and also this section behind that part of the track. So here's the plan. I do have this rock which is solid now because I used the glue water mixture and dropped it all down there, so that's all nice and solid. So I will be adding possibly some colour texture on top of that, maybe some weeds, some grass coming through. This brown section here, there's going to be some clump foliage all the way along here of different colours, but it's this side here that I need to get started on. So this little slope I've got is going to have a similar rock to that, but I'm going to mix up the colours a bit, and that's going to go all the way around there. Between that rock and the track, I'll just add some gravelly type stuff, maybe some dark foliage down there, and then I'll do the ballast in the track, but just from this point round to this point for now. So that's the plan for today's video. The reason I was asking about the glue is I want to spread some glue down on the surface and sprinkle some of this rocky stuff on top, but it would make more sense to add some paint first rather than painting it, waiting for it to dry, then adding the glue, then adding the stones. So I thought, I've seen people doing this, they just mix the paint into the glue and then you're killing two birds with one stone. Now for the stones that I'm going to be using, this is the stuff I've used on the left hand side of the track, but I want it a bit different in the lower section, so I've got a choice of three. I've got this one which I don't really like that one for the purpose I'm going to be using it for. I like both of these, but I think just to mix it up a bit, literally, I'm going to mix them up. So I'm going to pour like half of that into this cup, half of that into this cup, give it a shake and use that. I can always add some highlights later. So the first stage is to mix up this glue, spread it down there, sprinkle the stones on top. Obviously it's only going to stick to where the glue was applied, so I'll do it at that sort of angle, make sure it gets on all the section all the way around, and then obviously when I move this card away, any loose stones are going to fall down onto the base, but I can sweep them up, put them back in the cup, use them later. So let's do that first. So I'm going to use this squeezy bottle at the moment, and I'm going to fill it half full of glue for now. I can always add more later, but I have no idea how much paint I'm going to need. I'm going to have to buy more of this stuff. Tell you what, you fair get through the white glue in this hobby. But also, as I said in the intro, I have no idea if this is going to affect how it sets. Is it still going to, or is this stuff still going to want to set clear? Or am I going to cause some weird chemical reaction and it's going to and it's going to set a milky brown? Let's find out. Let's give this a good shake. Hopefully I don't pour it all over the... Oh, this might need stirred. Oh, shaky shake. Oh, this is going to take a lot because it's undiluted glue. We're getting there, but it's taking a while. I'll see you in a minute. Right, I've been shaking for a while. I think I need more paint. And you know what, I don't see this as a waste because I use this sort of paint on the surface quite a lot around the track. And it's really cheap. Everything we use in this is pretty cheap. More shaking is required. Back in a minute. Okay, much shaking later. Still a little bit around there that's refusing to mix. But that's looking okay. I really hope it, you know, sets that colour. Right, while that's, well, not doing anything, let's mix up some of this gravel. I'm going to do half and half. Hopefully that'll be enough. Should have got a bigger cup. Let me grab another cup so I can go between them. I brought two. Red Solo cup. I fill you up. Let's have a party. Probably get a copyright claim for my excellent singing. Okay, I will use the third cup to mix them. I think that worked. Obviously need more mixing to do, but oh, spilling it everywhere. I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you guess which one it's in? I think that's going to work out quite nice, actually. Yeah, much happier with that. So, yeah, it breaks it up from being quite so uniform. Right, we have got our gravel and we have got our glue. Let's go over to the scene. Stick it down. This is going to be a wee bit tricky for me to reach because I'm a wee short arms, but I need to reach all the way over there and then somehow get that there and put the gravel over the top. Blech. Wish me luck. There's probably an easier way to do that. Anyway, that's going to take forever to dry, so we'll need to move on to something else. Let's try some of this green, light green foliage stuff. And some of this conifer green, extra coarse turf sort of mixture. But you really got to be random with this stuff, otherwise it just looks, you know, too manufactured. So let's be a bit more careful with the glue this time. It's going to start right up there and go all the way along. I really hope I was right about this glue mixture and it does in fact just dry brown. Well, it's not going to dry any lighter than it is at the moment, right? But hopefully it'll go a bit darker. I don't know where that logic comes from, just hopes and dreams. You know what, I wonder why they don't sell coloured glue. That would save a lot of hassle, right? Right. I'm going to put this stuff on first. Basically, you just grab some out of the bag and then kind of stretch it out. But I'm not going to do a whole line, so let's start with that much to begin with. Just kind of plonk it on there. That's fine, there's a wee brown patch there, but I can add in some of the dark green stuff. So as I say, I'm just going to try and make this as random as possible. Just a little bit more at the end. So that's meant to represent kind of bushes. Right, this stuff is not the same as that. It's more loose, so I need to be a wee bit more careful with how I apply this. And I can always go over it with some diluted glue in this little spray bottle. Just to seal it all in place. And anything that's not sealed down, I can vacuum up. Yeah, that's not bad. Let me finish this bit off. Got to just try and make it as random as possible, but your brain automatically goes to symmetry, you know what I mean? You got to be careful of that. Right, let's leave it like that for now, see how it looks when it dries. So I need to wait for all that glue to dry, and then I'll brush off the excess gravel, reapply in little patchy bits. There is something else I can be getting on with while we're waiting though. Track looks fine, and oh dear, we're missing some ties. So I need to add in 2 ties there, and a couple of little ends of ties there. And there's one missing up there. I'm not going to be painting this track. Because it's the brass track around here, it doesn't really need the paint. It's kind of dark enough. Once the ballast is over it, it'll look fine. I might regret that decision later, but let's get a couple of ties glued in there, little end ties, and that'll be that bit done. And this is why it's important to never throw out all your scraps. So we need, oh, I'll tell you what I need my glasses. Getting fiddly now. Got my glasses. And of course the glasses were next to the coffee machine, so, you know, had to be done. Okay, what do we need? We need 3 full length ties. And I'll just do a lot of little ones, because no doubt I'll drop most of them. 1 little one. 2, 3. I'm not even throwing out the bits I'm cutting off here because I'm that stingy. One full one. I might actually have to flatten the top bits down because they're going to force the rails up. So I'll maybe just grind them down a bit. Because obviously they're designed to have the tracks sliding through the, what do you call these wee bits, the clamps that hold the rail on? I don't actually know the term. Leave a comment. Unless you don't know. Everyone knows except me. I'm the only idiot here. Right, got 3 of them. I'll just either grind down or cut off those little rail clamps. I don't know what they're called. And I'll see you over at the Scenic area. So, little blob of, or a massive pile of glue there. A little bit in the middle. Or again, a huge amount in the middle. Don't worry, it'll set clear. I didn't use the brown one just in case. Yeah, I'm going to have to wipe that up. One there. One there. I need to get a screwdriver and just space that a bit. Or tweezers might be better. It needs to go there. And there. Probably laughing at how anal I'm being about this, but I think you would notice it. I think it'd be quite obvious if you get it wrong. Yes, I just leaned in all my gravel and I'm covered in glue and stones. Anyway, let's get these 4 dots I need here. Yeah, I'm not very good with the glue. One there. I'll straighten these once I get them all down. Just 3 there it needs. Okay. Looks good. So just get the one over there to do. This one's going to be a nightmare. I definitely can't reach with the glue over there, so I'll just put the glue on the sleeper and hope I can reach. There we go. Awesome. So now we wait for all that glue to set and dry. I don't want to do the ballast until everything is in place. It'll be very interesting to see if that brown paint glue dries darker or the same. Anyway, see you in the morning. Off to bed. Good morning. Let's see if this glue has set. And we'll also find out if that paint has dried a funny colour. Oh, look at that. It's actually dried dark. So there you go. You can mix white glue to a coloured paint and it will dry the colour that the paint is supposed to be. Obviously the top layer of the stones isn't going to be stuck, so we're going to brush off all the excess and probably put a little bit more glue in these patches and just fill in the gaps. Our foliage should also be stuck, but only the very bottom layer, so I'll need to spray some diluted glue over that. So that's my retaining wall done. Quite happy with that actually. And all around this edge here, there'll be a very small gap for weeds and a little bit of grass, and then there'll be a little sidewalk, and then there'll be the road. Or buildings. Not quite decided if it's going to be road then buildings, or then buildings then road. Main thing is that bit's done. So this little gap between there and the rails, where it's green, there will probably be possibly some dark sand, and then obviously the ballast will fill the rest. Let's try some of this dark sand. It's kind of very dark grey, and it's really just to fill all these final little gaps between the cork bed and the bigger gravel. I can always put some foliage on top, just very small amounts, maybe grass tufts, and then get this ballast down. So let me squirt some of this in. Put my sand into this little dispensing bottle. Hopefully that's enough just to... Oh yeah, that's fine. One of my better ideas. There are some areas there I'm going to add some more of the bigger gravel to. These little bottles come from dollar stores. It's like, they come in packs of 3 for like $1.50. It's really good. Very handy. There we go. Add some more bigger gravel to this bit. Cool, and I can secure all this with a spray of diluted glue. Excellent. Let us prepare some ballast. So I raided all the local dollar stores for this stuff, which is a jar of gravel. This is sort of light grey, and it's much the same as the Woodland Scenic's fine ballast, which is really what I want. So that's 4 of the light grey. I've got 7 of this kind of brownish grey, which I do quite like. That's why I've got 7 of them. And I've got 2 of the dark grey, which I also quite like. But I think what I really need to do is mix either 2 of them or all 3 of them to get just the right texture. Because again, if it's too consistent, it looks fake. So I'll do a little mix up and see what I like. Obviously, it's going to be most of this stuff since I've got like 7 jars of it. Let's not waste too much at the moment. So, a bit of the, let's call that brown, light grey, and dark grey. Let's call this one dark grey, shall we? Just a little bit of that since I've only got 2. Ooh, yes. Oh yeah, I like that. Yes, 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 yes. So I think my plan is to make a massive batch of this stuff, because I want it, although I want it inconsistent, I want it consistently inconsistent around the whole track, except for the freight areas of where the locals live. But I can make up just a sort of darker one, and I've got some black sand I can use to mix with that. Let me get a big mixing tub. Like that. It used to be peanut butter pretzels, which are awesome, from Costco when they have them. They don't always have them. So let us go with a full dark grey. And this is a sort of brownish grey. We'll go for 2 of them. And we'll go for 1 light grey. Oh, might as well use the one that's opened, eh? Look at that. I now have 4 containers, which I will obviously use for a future project. Put the lid on this. Mix that up. Oh, I've created one of those arty-farty layered. No, you can't see that. Maybe sell that in IKEA. Got a plant in it. Oh, it takes a lot to mix this stuff. And it's heavy. Oh, we're there. Oh, I like that a lot. Excellent. Right, here's my ballast spreader. So I made this on my 3D printer. So it's very cool. It's got a little sliding door, but it's very small. So I made a bigger one. It doesn't have the sliding door, but it would hold more ballast. And if that doesn't work, I'll just pour it on with this and use a teaspoon and a brush to spread it about. I'm going to start at the furthest away point since I can barely reach it. I'll do it. Start it from about there. I need to start with this on the track because it doesn't have a little trap door. Supposedly, we just kind of run it around the track. A wee shake. That is actually working surprisingly well. Oh yes. You do have to shake it a little bit just to get it through the wee holes. A wee top up. Because this is extra wide, this ballast spreader, it's hitting off my rocks at the other side, so it's a wee bit trickier to disperse. It's still working though. Oh, came off the rails there. That's okay. I'll use a wee brush. Needs another top up. Awesome. I am super happy with that. Now, this section here is a bit overfilled. Let me try and disperse this a little bit. I don't want to mix it in with that sand that I just put down. That's a bit better. And from what I've seen, the best thing you can do now is grab a spoon and tap the rails just to settle the ballast into any little gaps. Still a bit of a raised bit there. Okay, let's try this spoon thing. Wonder if it matters. Does it need to be a stainless steel spoon? Oh, Thor stainless steel. I think we're good. Lovely. Now, I don't actually mind if there is a little bit at least, of the ballast on top of the rails in the centre, because I remember seeing that when I was a kid. Except in the UK, there was actually a ridge of ballast right up the middle, which was always a bit, well, that was just normal. But I've never seen that here, so we'll get most of it in between the sleepers. Yeah, it's working out quite good. Right. Let me finish doing all that, and then we'll grab some, or we'll make up some diluted glue. There we go then, my ballast is where I want it to be, mostly. And I did just use a little brush because you do not want the ballast on the inside of the track. So we'll brush it away from the inside on both sides. Let's just make sure our train gets round without it grinding and derailing, shall we? Taking it slow, you know, I don't want to damage my loco. My freshly DCC converted loco at that. Right, we're listening for any grindy sounds. think we're good, other than, yeah, just there's a little pile there that I need to sort. Guess I missed that. Right, glue time. My glue mixture is 1 part white glue, 3 parts water, a couple of drops of this. Mix it all up. Make sure it's thoroughly mixed. Now, I've seen a lot of people using pipettes and syringes to drip this into the ballast. Don't quite see the point. Just use a bottle and just drip it out there. Otherwise, you're constantly having to refill your pipette or your syringe. Makes no sense. If you don't have a lot of access, obviously you can't use this. So just put it in a small bottle and drip it out. Right, I need to mix this thoroughly, and then before I drip this onto the ballast, I'm going to spray the whole track section with IPA. Apparently it helps the glue flow into all the cracks, nooks and crannies. Okay, let's give this a go. Again, I'm starting in the hardest to reach area. I'm not going to do it all at once because the IPA will evaporate fairly quickly. Plus, it'll probably knock me unconscious. Let's go as far as the unicorn. Ooh, that's powerful stuff. Smells like vodka. Probably doesn't taste like vodka. Yep, that's dripping out quite nicely. You see what I mean though? What is the point using a pipette when you can just use a bottle? You don't constantly have to go back and refill it. I think once I get more confident with this stuff, I could probably just squeeze the bottle a bit harder and do more of a line than a drip. But this is my first balancing experience, so trying to be a wee bit cautious, you know. Right, I'll do the middle bit now. Yeah, I went straight for the squeezing it. A wee bit too much there. I'm going to have to dab that out because it's on the side of the rail. And do this edge. Obviously you want to saturate all the ballast. Looking good. I guess I didn't get enough IPA in that bit, you can tell, because the glue is not going through the ballast at that point. But I do need to dab that section out, it's a wee bit thick. A wee bit of tissue. That's better. And I can always rub down the rail later when it's dry, just to get rid of any excess glue. The glue should just peel off the track. Got a wee baldy bit there, but I'll come back to that once it's semi-dry. Put a little bit more on there. Right, let me finish off the rest. And now we wait. Again, make sure you use that IPA in a well ventilated area. Well, it's been about 6 hours. My ballast and my bigger stones are almost dry. They're dry enough that I can touch them and they don't move, but they're not completely dry, but dry enough that I can start adding a bit more detail, because as you can see, it's very uniform. Even though that's three different colour, or that's two different colours, that's three different colours, that's obviously just one different colour, it looks a bit samey same. So I need to just break that up a bit with some of this and this. So this is the sort of press-on foliage stuff, various colours. That's that dark green, which I got at a train show really cheap, but that's the stuff I used there, the dark stuff. I think it works really well. I'm not going to use them all because then it would just look like a rainbow. I've also got some of these little plant tufts that I can peel off and stick on wherever. Might use maybe this one and this one, that's a bit colourful. And I made some little grass tufts of various sizes and colours just to put randomly around. And of course I've got my train running around just to make sure there's no gritty bits. Running. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So let's decide. In fact, let's not plan it out too much. Let's just try a few things. Remember, randomness is the key to make this look realistic. Let's begin with this little section along here. I'm going to put glue all the way along. No, I'm not, because the sand has not set. So what I think I'll do instead is spray on some glue rather than trying to brush it on. Kind of surprised that the sand hasn't dried, but the stones have. Anyway, I've got a little miniature spray bottle. Unfortunately, it's not a fine mist, so I've got to be kind of accurate. And this is the diluted stuff again, so it's going to take quite a while to dry. But that's okay, I know it works eventually. Okay, let's try this colour coarse turf. Going to sprinkle it randomly. So this is kind of supposed to be like bushes, wild foliage, you know, that kind of stuff. Try and be as random as possible. Okay. And then we'll try some of the darker green. And this is definitely going to need a bit of a spraying over with more of a fine mist glue, because it's not sticking to the base at all, because it's really just most of it is above. Okay, now I've left a couple of gaps because I'm going to put in some of those plants. But first I'm going to try one of these little tufts and see how that looks, just kind of stuck there. Maybe do a couple of colours, that one and this one here, which is a slightly different colour and slightly longer, but I didn't want it too different a colour. Not sure. It's one of these things that you can't really tell until it's all done. Right, let me finish all that off, see how it looks when I'm finished. So I ran into some technical difficulties. I had intended to spray on some of the diluted glue with my little spray bottles over the turf that I'd sprinkled on. But the little dispensers I have will only spray the diluted glue out in a stream, which is too heavy. It just brushes or just blows all the detail away. I tried 3 different dispensers. If anyone's got an idea of where I can get an actual spray bottle that mists thicker substances, because it just, as I say, it just streams out. So I had to just use a dropper all the way around, which was not ideal, but I think it looks okay. I also added a little bit of detail on the back wall that I'll show you at the end. You need to wait because I need to wait for the glue to dry. Anyway, I think it looks okay. Obviously, it's my first time doing this sort of thing. Definitely my first time doing ballast. And the ballast also needs to dry out. It's still a bit dark at the moment. So hopefully by the time you see the end sequence, it will all look gorgeous. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to the next section, which will be that back wall. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.